people. Welcome to episode 3 Emotions of Top Story. I'm Uzma Gulindas, an ambition and unambiguity coach, a certified academic English instructor, and a published author living in the UAE.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from a beautiful Cape Town. I'm Sonai Swanepoel. I'm a self-awareness and growth coach at One Life Coaching. I'm an entrepreneur, published author, and budding speaker. Usma, my dad always told me, Sonai, don't let your emotions control you. You must control your emotions. What are your thoughts about this statement?
I think that was a great advice that your father gave you, Sonai, because emotions are not logical. They are feelings, so everything about them is subjective. An unpleasant incident may make a certain someone more aggressive or mean, but someone else in that exact same situation may become softer or more patient because as per their experience and the emotions that they felt, they realize that's the way to go. The problem is that if you let your emotions get the better of you, you may end up reacting in a way or making a decision that you may regret later.
You touched a very important point there, Usma, logic. When we look back at some terrible decisions that we have made, we might wonder what on earth were we thinking? Chances are that we were not thinking, but instead acting on emotion and not logic. Balancing logic and emotion will lead to better decisions being made. The more intense the emotions, the more your judgment may be impaired. Emotions need to be acknowledged if you want to make balanced choices. Pay attention to the way you feel. Recognize those feelings and acknowledge them. Doing this can help you realize how these emotions may distort your thinking and influence the way you behave. Decrease emotional reaction and raise logic by looking at the pros and cons of an event or decision in any given situation.
Sentiments can really affect you, and the impact is not just on the mind, it's also on the body as emotions trigger hormone production. Like when you're in love, you feel those butterflies in your stomach. That's a result of oxytocin, the love and bonding hormone, which is at its peak during the initial phase of the relationship. On the other hand, physical and mental symptoms of anxiety, for that matter, can make you feel lightheaded, shaky, nauseous. So you also create certain, you can also create external factors to trigger certain emotions. For example, bright lights and loud noises make you excited, raise your heart rate, and this can lead to you acting accordingly. So now you know why casinos use that kind of lights and music so that you get excited and spend more. What a havoc our emotions can wreak on us, Sune. Really.
Yes, and when our emotions play havoc with us, as you mentioned, it affects our ability to communicate effectively or act quickly in important situations. For example, when there's a pot of water boiling on the stove and it spills over, fear makes you pull your hand away instantaneously. Emotions provide important information and can also be experienced as a gut feeling or intuition. Yet sometimes it happens that people tell you that your feeling or intuition is wrong. They might say, you are just overreacting, get over it, or at least you have this or that. I'm sure we've all heard it somewhere along the way. The worst part is that we might even do it to ourselves in the form of self-talk.
So now you know your sentiments can make you kind of mental, crazy. That's probably the true meaning of sentimental.
Okay, thank you for that one, Wisma. Um, Invalidating someone's feelings can be very hurtful because it communicates that understandable feelings are somehow wrong or bad. Invalidation breaks down connections with others and increases feelings of loneliness and isolation. The opposite of invalidation is validation, which means someone's emotions are acknowledged and respected. Validating emotions helps us to feel more connected and understood and leads to better problem solving and relationship building opportunities.
Let's not forget how we began today with the statement emotions are not logical. It's all about how you feel. Sometimes we say usual, common everyday stuff, and that still stirs trouble in our relationship with others. I'm just trying to explore the other side of what you said, Sune. So if someone feels offended by, say, a statement or joke that you make but is not actually condescending, what do? What you can do is just say sorry, and if there is a misunderstanding, try and clear it with an old fashioned talk. But the apology part cannot be done away with. If a person reacts to your words in a way as if they have been hurt despite the absence of malice, then it's their problem to understand and sort. And learning that it was just a normal statement that you made is also their issue to handle. But a simple sorry from you can help them feel comforted. How they take it from there is their prerogative. You have done your part by acknowledging their injury and see to it that you do not repeat the same offense until it remains offensive to them.
It sounds to me like we need to know how to control our emotions. So, how do you know when you are in control of your emotional reactions? It is when you are able to choose how and when to express the emotions that you are feeling. Those who are good at managing their emotions know that it is healthy and important to express their feelings. They know that it matters how and when they express their feelings and emotions. While writing my book, One Life, Voiceless No More, I realized the importance of acknowledging feelings and learning to express them and voice them in healthy ways. Going through this process of embracing emotions and learning to self regulate more empowers one to react to situations in more productive ways.
Absolutely. Handling your emotions and managing them well is a part of emotional intelligence, otherwise also known as the EQ. The other part is understanding the emotional state of people around you and managing them accordingly for a smooth functioning dynamic. EQ is more important than IQ because it leads to better people skills and human resource management. And it's worth noting that the most important skill of successful people is managing the people that they deal with. You know, employers actually prefer to hire people with a higher EQ as compared to just a higher IQ. Why so? Let me give you an example. You get invited, say you get invited for a black tie event by your new employer. The invite clearly says that it's a formal event and you're allowed to take one more person with you. Now, would you take your best friend who happens to be an unpredictable character, short-tempered, laughs and talks, like loudly, irrespective of the social setup, sometimes also passes rude comments, or would you choose to go with your neighbor who you may have known for a while but isn't your best buddy? But he or she knows how to conduct themselves in any environment, know how to act politely, and are mindful of how they are behaving. You choose. Most people will, of course, opt for the neighbor, and rightly so, because the neighbor seems to have more emotional self control and will know better than embarrassing you in front of your new boss and colleagues. That's your neighbor exhibiting emotional intelligence.
Sure, that can be a very tough decision to make, Usma. But I feel it's important to remember that it is okay to give yourself some kindness and understanding for the way that you feel. This will help you to accept your emotions, recognize them as being valid, and that it is acceptable to feel whatever it is that you are feeling. Accepting your feelings and emotions means observing, recognizing, and understanding your emotions without blaming others or judging yourself for how you feel. Telling yourself that others is to blame for how you feel is not productive or helpful. Judging your emotions is a waste of time. The goal is to acknowledge your feelings and be in control of them and not allowing them to run away with you. And this is a skill that can be learned by all.
Absolutely, Sune. I completely agree with you. And I think if I have to, say what would be the most important abstract quality, since we're talking about emotions, I would say patience. We need to be patient with others and with ourselves. And this is a complex topic, and don't be discouraged just yet if you are still trying to learn. For any answers, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Yes, find us on Facebook and Instagram. You will find the details of how to connect with us in the post part of this video or on Facebook, Instagram, depends on where you see this. Subscribe to our YouTube channels if you don't want to miss out on more informative topics like this. We appreciate your support.
Next week, we'll meet you with focus and productivity. Until then, this is Uzma
And Sonai.
taking your leave. Bye.